So next up, we want to get an update on roads. North Park and Kingwood Drive, we probably do everything we can to avoid those two roads. Everybody knows all the back roads. Those people that live down there aren't very happy about that, I'm sure. But we have Stan Sarman here with us today. He's the chairman of the TERS, which is the Tax Increment Reinvestment Zone. And he's going to give us an update on North Park, right? It's going to be all expanded and fixed by 2019? Yeah.
Not exactly, but I was telling Tom Rhodes, who's also one of our directors on our board for the Lake Houston Redevelopment Authority and Tax Increment Reinvestment Zone 10. We had a meeting this morning. Normally we would have met next Thursday. Unfortunately, we met today, and so I do have something to report. So I'm glad to be here. We have been going through a major process, and of course, Corinne was involved with us on our Kingwood mobility study that was accomplished between 2013 and 2015. And this is 2018, so it's taken 3 years to move along this process. We've done some improvements on some of the intersections. As most of you know, both West Lake Houston Parkway and North Park Drive and at King's Crossing have been under construction. We don't have the new lights turned on yet. Hopefully they should be within, let's say, by the end of December. We had a few issues with the inspectors with the City of Houston that they asked for some things that were not on the plans. So we had to modify those, and we got that taken care of. And so hopefully we'll be able to get the city out to go ahead and officially turn on the new lights, traffic signals, and therefore we can remove the old ones and complete the job. So that's continuing on. A couple of other things I want to mention before I get to North Park. We do have some other intersections that are under study right now as the next phase of work as far as intersection improvements, and those are both on Kingwood Drive. One of them is Willow Terrace, and the other one is Woodland Hills Drive. And both of those intersections, we're going to be doing some improvements that are comparable to what was recommended in the mobility study. Because the mobility study is our marching order. That's what we're going forward with. We have limited funds, but we try to do as much as we can with what we have. As I've mentioned before, the Redevelopment Authority in TERS 10 does not include all of the Kingwood area. Only about 25% of the physical acreage of the Kingwood area is included in our TERS boundary, and that's the only area we get a tax increment from. So we are limited on the funds. Now, on North Park Drive, we have been working with the staff and the city trying to get a couple of things accomplished. One, because this TERS, theoretically, if we don't get an extension of the life of this TERS, we terminate in 2027, December 2027. So since that's only 9 years away, there's not enough time for us to sell bonds to do projects like North Park Drive. So we've been working with the mayor and the staff down there in the Economic Development Department, Andy Aiken, Gwen Telpson, and Jennifer Curley, trying to get the various ordinances to City Council. One, to extend the life of the TERS for another 20 years out to 2048, which would give us about 30 years to sell bonds and have time to pay them back at a reasonable rate. And then, there's a small part of North Park Drive that's not in our TERS boundary. We're going to annex that in. And then the last thing, of course, is approving a project plan for all of this construction. Well, up to now, the project plan had been a little bit of a hang-up. So we finally reached a compromise through the great efforts. And anytime y'all see him, thank Councilmember Dave Martin. He has been a strong advocate for us with the mayor. He spent, I don't know how many hours. There were some things that the staff was asking us to do, and which would have made it difficult for us to be able to afford to do all the projects we need to complete for not only for increased mobility but safety, and also building some of these roads up till we get them above the 500-year floodplain. those are all gonna be taken care of as a part of North Park Drive. So the effort with Dave Martin, meeting with the mayor, there were some elements in the project plan that we were not happy with, and that would have created some major problems of us being able to get our funding through. But thanks to the mayor's help, Councilmember Martin's help, we were able to get the project plan modified with the staff, and the new plan approved this morning that basically was what the board wanted to get approved anyway. So, because we had originally approved a previous plan, and so this was back more or less to our original plan, to where the funding stays with us at least for the foreseeable future. Now, one of the questions dealt with affordable housing. A lot of TERSs do contribute to what's called affordable housing. Since we're a non-petition TERS, we are not required to do that, but we can voluntarily do it if we have funding available. Right now, we don't have funding available, so we wanna move forward with North Park Drive, and let's get it moving. So now that we have a project plan approved this morning, it's gonna go to City Council next week. There's a public hearing on Wednesday at 9 o'clock down at City Hall. Several of us will be there promoting the plan and saying, let's go, we gotta get this moving. And there's two projects on North Park Drive. The first project is from I-69 to Russell Palmer, and that's gonna be funded by the city, with funds from the City of Houston and the TERS, the bonds that we sell. And then the second increment is from Russell Palmer to to Woodland Hills Drive. And that portion is we submitted an application to the Houston Galveston Area Council to try and obtain some federal funding for that portion of the project. If we get the federal funding, TxDOT and the Federal Highway Administration will pay 80% of that portion of the project, which is around $28 million, and the TERS will fund the remaining through bond sale. And so, which is another probably 8 or 9 million. And so we're moving forward on both these increments. The first increment from I-69, which includes the overpass over the railroad track and 494, that's going first because we need that one critically. All of this, of course, will be designed to meet the new City of Houston standards of being above the 500-year floodplain, and that was to improve mobility in and out of Kingwood. And of course, it will be, it'll also be approximately a year or so to complete the design and acquisition of some right-of-way that we need, and then it'll take about a year and a half to 2 years to construct that element. Then once that's complete, then we'll do the second element, the second easterly section, because it'll take a little longer to get the funding through the federal government. It's probably going to be more 2023 before we get the federal application of this. But we have been informed that our application of some 194 applications that were submitted, ours was the only application that had about 40 recommendation letters from not only various HOAs and residents in the area, but we have approval letters for this project from every city council member, including the mayor, that has gone to HGAC, and many of the other applications that went in, if they have 1 or 2 approval letters, that's about all they have. We have 40 of them, so, or 35 to 40 in that range. So anyway, that's where we are. We're trying to go as quickly as we can. Unfortunately, the wheels of government sometimes don't move as quickly as we would like to. But we're trying to, and I know that everyone's been very frustrated, so have I, with North Park Drive, Kingwood Drive, but we're going to continue pushing on particularly North Park Drive. Anyway, thank y'all very much for giving me the time here today.
And Stan, are you available to hang out a little bit afterwards? Okay, great. All right. I think the majority of our speakers, I'll ask each one, can stay after. So if you guys have any questions or need further information, you can visit with them. If you haven't been to these before, we really try to stick to our schedule. Start at 11 and be done at noon, just to respect everybody's time. So if you see that we're kind of moving along and you're like, but I have questions, it's okay, stay after and talk with them. Okay, so our next speaker is going to be from Lone Star College System, as you guys all know. You either live in Kingwood or you have some affiliation with it for you to be here today. You know that Lone Star, Kingwood, took on a lot of water and other disgusting stuff when Harvey hit. And they have been rebuilding from day one, and they are well on their way. So to give us an update, we have Henry Garcia. Come on up.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm Henry Garcia. I'm the Executive Director of College Relations. I'm responsible for internal and external communications for the college. I wanted to start out with a photo of our campus and the way it looks right now. We're really excited on the way it looks. If you can imagine, at RC, we took advantage of the beautiful fall weather we had a few days ago. But when you look at this, it's hard to imagine what we went through more than 14 months ago when we had Hurricane Harvey that created such a havoc on our college. We lost 6 of our 9 buildings at a cost of more than $50 million. It was quite, an unusual, situation to experience. But if anything, we've learned 2 things during our experience. The first is how we can continue to provide optimal educational services for our students, even under unusual circumstances. And number 2, how resilient we are at facing these situations. I wanted to provide an update by Dr. Catherine Pearson, our president, to give you an update on where we're at and what's around the corner for the college.
When I got that infamous call on August 29th from Eddie McFadden saying that we now had water in at least 5 of our buildings, we knew that it was going to be bad. Initial estimates were that probably wouldn't take that long, maybe a semester, more than maybe a semester and a half to get back together until we started the walkthrough and our Blackman mooring specialist saw the extent of the damage and all the expensive equipment and areas that were not only damaged by floodwaters but by raw sewage from the City of Houston wastewater treatment plant, contents being backed up and coming through our sewer drains. That was the flood on the 29th and our first walkthrough on the 30th. The first change in morale I actually saw this fall when we had 41 classrooms available on campus. That includes the 10 modulars that were brought in. And think about all last year, barely any students on campus. We had 9 classrooms. We created 6 basically in the student conference center in our music room. So really a small population of students. We couldn't offer all the core courses here. And many were online and dispersed throughout our other sites, including our sister colleges. So this fall to have 41 classrooms, and out of our 12,740 fall students, about 4,500 are physically on this campus taking classes, and they're excited. It's fun to see them excited to be back at their campus. By December the 7th, we should have all of our hardwired specialty equipment that's mostly in the healthcare come in, be installed, whether it's by the vendor, the contractors, or by us. And then a couple days later, by December the 10th, we will have the furniture arrive for both the fitness center and the classroom building B. And those are 1-story facilities, and they're the furthest along, so those will be set up first. And then a week later, we also depend on not only all the flooring being done, finishing somewhat being done, but also on the life safety alarm systems, fire alarm systems, all being operational and blessed by the City of Houston. So the healthcare building, the classroom building A, those have the most extensive number of classrooms and specialty equipment in them. All of that will be delivered around December the 17th. And we expect many more to kind of come in and trickle in by December the 21st. Our student services are reporting over and over again in the phone calls they're making to students who aren't here this semester, or maybe who weren't here in the spring as well, tell us that they definitely will be here this spring. They've been able to get their homes back, are far enough along that they feel comfortable with resuming their educational goals in the spring. I think that we will be back better than ever. And for the most part, we'll look like a brand new, at least rejuvenated, but new community college. We're ready for new beginnings. So I think that's it. We're all ready for new beginnings.
Our first major delivery was just a few days ago. And so, as you can see, we have shipments coming in. As Dr. Pearson mentioned, on the 17th and on January 4th, we expect the majority of our equipment to be delivered on that day. So even during the holidays, we're going to have continuous shipments being delivered, and of course, work continues with morning and evening crews working around the clock to get us open. All indications look like we're going to exceed our 13,000 enrollment in January, so we're really excited about that. The next photo is just photos of the classrooms being equipped. And then my PR team and I have been hard at work developing collateral materials to announce our opening, and it's the next slide. We're going to have our grand opening February 15th, and that's the final slide that you'll see. And it's a hold the day because we really want our community and business partners to join us in celebration as we open officially for the spring semester. And that's again February 15th, and that's the final slide. So it's an exciting time for us, and we really want to thank you for giving us this opportunity to tell our story. Thank you.
Thank you, Henry, and that's fantastic news. We will all be there for that. That's exciting. They have done so much work over this past 14 months. So, all right. Well, we also have with us Dr. Roger Brown. He's the Deputy Superintendent and Chief Academic Officer with Humble ISD to give us an update on the Humble ISD bond.
Okay, thank you so much. So last year at this time, we were actually planning the bond, and now we're in the implementation of the bond, which is really exciting. And if you think about all, let's just talk about Lone Star. This just shows you how important education is to this community, that there we are going through Harvey. We have a committee working on a $575 million bond and 74% approval rating in May. That's incredible for a bond election. And so thank you all for supporting Humble ISD, especially during that time. So we did pass in May a $575 million bond, and we said we would do these bond projects without affecting your taxes. And so the way we do that is we sell these over phases. So 4 to 5 years we will sell these bonds. So this past July we sold $125 million of bonds to get us started on projects. And so that's what I'll run through here pretty quickly on. So what have we started? Where are we with some of these projects? So after the sale of the bond, we've been doing this for some time, but this allowed us to continue to place security vestibules in all of our schools. So when you entered Kingwood High, for example, if you had been here prior to the flood, they did not have a secure vestibule. You could just walk in the front doors and it was open on each side, and if someone wasn't looking, you might just walk right through it. And so that has changed now. We've had secure vestibules at our elementaries for some time, and now then we are completing those at our secondary schools, and we hope to have all of those completed this year. So if you have a child at one of our schools, you will enter a secure vestibule, which is kind of sad that we have to have them, but it's important that we have them now. So our turf fields were completed at all of our high schools this summer, and we were able to bundle those projects. We were going to have to do it at Kingwood High anyway because of the flood. And so we knew this was important to our community and for our students in each of our high schools. We were able to bundle all those projects together, get them done this summer, save about $500,000. And so I was talking to our fine arts director, and I said, tell me about how it's been beneficial to you in the fine arts. And he said, well, let me give you an example of our band and our drill team. He said, prior to this, out in the parking lot, it was a real challenge for the drill team to work out with the band. He said, now they're able to do that here. And so he said, that's just a huge benefit to our students. And so we're real excited about these projects that are completed now. We are working on our baseball and softball at Turner Stadium area to turf those, redo some press boxes, restrooms, those kinds of things. And here's why that's important, because as we're going to experience Friday night, I hear, a lot of rain in this area. Well, during baseball and softball season, if it rains, it's a real challenge to find fields to play your games. And so now we'll have a designated field in the district for both softball and baseball that they can use that'll be turfed. So it's just gonna make it a lot easier for our students and our coaches to find a facility to continue playing and performing. So that's a great support for those students. So here's the next couple I'm really excited about that we were able to do this. So that picture to the top left, that's our current Kingwood Ag Barn off of Woodland Hills. And it floods tremendously. And that's a real challenge for our students and their animals. And so we brought to the community, and you supported, let's get out of there and let's find a new place for our ag barn in Kingwood. So this is we have purchased, so we own it now, land at the corner of Ford Road and Mills Branch. We own about 7 acres there. And so we will start working on that. In fact, they've already started. We have our teachers and our director and assistant superintendent support services. They've already been out touring facilities in different districts. Let us see what you have. What do we like? What do we not like? What do we want to do with ours? So that's already going, and we hope that the board will approve an architect for that work this Tuesday. And then we'll start the process of developing that and hope to have it open in 2020. So we're going to move to high ground. Yeah, we're excited about that.
Roger, did the Kingwood High and Kingwood Park kids use the same facility?
Yes, and in fact, one of the things that we're going to be able to do is also to our south side ag facility. We're going to be able, we want to upgrade it as well. So we're going to really address our ag facilities for all of our students here in the district. And that's just awesome, because it's a great program. The second thing is a transportation center. That's been a challenge for us in the district to find property for a second transportation up here in the Kingwood area. We've been looking for this for quite some time. Well, we actually closed, and it's real close to where the ag facility is going to be. We closed on 12 acres, so we're going to have a new transportation center. The estimate is about $2 million in operational costs. That's going to save our district every year, which is huge. And so we're really excited about this. Again, we hope the board will approve an architect for that work on Tuesday, and we'll begin that process. And so we do own the land now, though. And so we are like happy dancing, I can tell you that. Lakeland Elementary, one of our oldest elementaries in the district. In fact, it is our oldest elementary in the district. I think it was opened in 1960. Oh, there's what it says. And so one of the things in the bond is we're going to do a tear down and rebuild of Lakeland Elementary. It's just time. If you toured that facility, you would go, yeah, it's probably time. And so we're real excited about that. We have 11 architects that we've invited to submit design work on this, on what they would see happening there at Lakeland, what their thoughts would be, and we're going to choose an architect from that competition to help us rebuild Lakeland. Now, the challenge with rebuilding Lakeland is it sits on 15 acres, and so doing a tear-down rebuild will have to be done in phases because students will still be going to that school. And so we'll have to work with our architects and everyone to make sure we do that in the safest manner, which we will. I've been involved in that kind of work before. It's doable, but it's a challenge. So 15 acres is a challenge, but you take a school like North Belt, it would almost be impossible to do that kind of phase work because it's only on 8 acres of land. So really a tight area. We try now to buy land for our elementary schools 15 acres minimum, and we really like to get between 20 and 25 acres. And I'll tell you why. So there's the elementary that's going to open in 2020. This is elementary school number 29. It's in Lakewood Pines. It's It's about 116,000 square feet, so it's a larger footprint. The renderings of the inside there, but these are classrooms here. And this is a pod area for collaboration and those windows open. So it's just a larger spread of a building, and that's on 23 acres. It just takes land to do that kind of a project. And so that's what we're really after in the future, is anywhere between 20 and 25 acres, to build a kind of facility for that kind of collaboration and work with students and teachers. So we are really excited about that in the future of our next school. So that's kind of where we are now. We're in the process then of phase 2, 3, 4. It'll be the next 4 to 5 years to finish these projects out, and we do that again so we don't have to raise taxes. So you're looking at $125 million on average, probably every summer. And then, so we're working, these are the kinds of things that guide our work, and we work with our architects and try to bundle projects to save money that makes sense, doesn't disrupt as much. And so that's the work we're doing right now. So we're in phase 1, and we're working on how do we want to do phase 2 and what does that look like. So I'm sure that over the next 4 or 5 years, we will be coming back to Bizcom and saying, hey, here's where we are, and be glad to answer any questions afterwards. We'll be here. So we're excited about that, and thank you all for supporting the district, especially last year. That was just an unusual year, and for everyone to support that bond and say, well, I know we've had things happen, but we still believe in education and where we're going in this district means a lot. So thank you all for that continued support.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Roger. We appreciate the update, and those are lots of exciting things. When they get that built, you're going to take us all on a tour, right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, good.
Absolutely. We can do a Bizcom.
I might have to stick by your side, because without my heels, I'm about the same size as those elementary school students. I want to get stuck here.
If I hang out in first grade, it makes me feel tall.
Oh, okay. All right, so we all know the holidays are upon us, and we are out shopping, or even if you just sit on your couch and you order stuff in, all right, there's a lot of activity that is going on, and so we always like to remind everybody about how to take extra safety precautions during this time of year. So we are inviting Officer Daniel Van Quintus with Houston Police Department to remind everybody not to leave those packages in your car for everybody to see. We'll start there. Okay.
So like you said, so we'll start with the what she was talking about with the presents in cars and your purses and stuff that stay in cars. So 70% of Kingwood's BMVs that we have, which are burning motor vehicles, are unlocked vehicles. So when we have a rise in BMVs, it's usually unlocked cars. So we really stress to people, lock your cars and, hide your belongings. Take them out of your car, put them in the trunk, just hide them to where nobody can see them. So I'm just going to go over after that some things that we see kind of trending, like up here, and it's coming from more down closer to Houston, but we're seeing it make its way up here. And the first one is, did anybody stop and get gas this morning? Who used a credit card? Did you slide it? Did you check the machine before you slid the card? No? So credit card skimmers are something that we're seeing become on a rise. They found 2 of them already, one on North Park and 59 up there in that area. But what that is these criminals are going in there, they're switching it out with their machine. And when you slide your card, all your information goes to them, and then they can go purchase things with your credit card. I have a cousin that apparently works that I just found out the other day, it works, and he installs those types of things.